Mr. Vice President, thank you very much for making time for us.
Thank you, Charles.
If you were to talk to the governor, and you said you talked to him today.
I did.
Or the mayor of Milwaukee, there's three things that they would tell you. They need testing, testing, testing.
Right.
The governor wants to test 85,000 people a week to help reopen. The mayor of Milwaukee is saying that African Americans account for more than half the coronavirus cases and deaths. Why can't they get more testing?
We're working to scale testing all across the country, including here in Wisconsin, even as we speak. We had a very good conversation with all of the nation's governors yesterday. And we were able to provide for them the details of all of the laboratories here in Wisconsin and across the country that are able to do coronavirus tests. And we're working with the governors to make sure that those laboratories have the supplies to perform them. At this time, across the country, we're doing 150,000 tests a day, and maybe more than that. But we truly believe that we could double that amount of testing in a very short period of time if governors across the country will work with laboratories and our administration to activate all the laboratories that could be doing the testing. But as Governor Evers and I talked this morning about medical equipment and supplies, I assured him, as we assured every governor, that we're going to continue to work very closely with states across the country to make sure that they have the equipment, that they have the testing supplies, and the resources to be able to continue to meet this moment. Wisconsin has done well. We grieve the loss of more than 200 citizens of Wisconsin to the coronavirus. Our sympathies to their families. But the people of this state have responded strongly. There's been good leadership here at the state, and I want to assure the people of this state will continue to work closely to address all of the needs from testing to medical equipment until we can reach that day that we put the coronavirus in the past and we open up Wisconsin and open up America again.
As people look for more testing, will each governor have to find their own supplies? Is it going to be Wisconsin versus Michigan? Has the president looked at a possible national testing plan for everyone?
We've actually established a national supply chain, not just for testing, but for medical equipment, for gowns and for masks and for gloves. Just in the last 2 weeks, we've delivered more than 400,000 surgical masks, literally millions of other masks and gloves just to Wisconsin alone. And we're working around the clock to make sure that the laboratories that can do coronavirus testing here in Wisconsin and around the country have the test tubes, the reagents, and the swabs to be able to perform those. We're going to have an ongoing partnership with state governments around the country as governors lead the effort to roll out testing. But I want the people of Wisconsin to know that we believe that today, doing 150,000 coronavirus tests a day, we believe that we have a sufficient amount of testing in America today for every state in this country to go into phase one once they meet the other criteria, 14 days of declining cases, sufficient hospitalization. And so while we'll continue to expand testing literally around the clock, the people of this state can be confident that as Wisconsin has made progress, that being able to move into phase one, we believe we have the testing in place today, and we'll work with your governor and every governor in the country to make sure those resources are available to begin the process of reopening as soon as state officials deem that most appropriate.
So let me talk about that in my final question here. As we speak, the Republicans in the Wisconsin legislature are suing to stop the governor from his extended safer at home. My question to you, as people look to reopen, we saw big protests in a Milwaukee suburb. 400,000 plus people are out of work here in Wisconsin. They're hurting. They want to go to work. Speak to the confusion of, though, how do we reopen, or when do we reopen? Should they listen to their governors? Should they listen to our governor on how to reopen?
Well, no one wants to reopen the American economy more than President Donald Trump. And I think every American knows that America works when Americans are working. And we understand that strong desire in this state and around the country to reopen just as soon as possible. That's the reason why the president last week laid out the guidelines to open up America again. And I know that Governor Evers has laid out a framework, as he told me today, based on that guidance. So what we want to do is create a framework where we can be confident as we reopen the economy of this state or any state, that we prevent any resurgence or any comeback of the coronavirus in this state or elsewhere. And so I would just say with great respect that we're going to continue to work closely with governors around the country, who I know will be listening carefully to the voices of their citizens and their state legislatures about the right and proper time. But I think every American wants to see our country back to work, and every American wants to see us do that in a manner that is safe and responsible. And we believe that the President's guidelines for opening up America again create a roadmap for doing just that.
Thank you for your time.
You bet.
Good to see you.
You too. Thank you, Charles.